Hi there, my name's Sam, and we are here doing some decorating in the Summerdream household. It's kind of a speed build, but not really the build part as much as the deco part. Um, as you can see here, I'm doing a little bit of a tour of the exterior, the sort of the shell I'm working from. I'm pretty much using just the pre-made house layout in the shell, except I did rebuild it on a fresh lot. I just recreated the original building, but there's sometimes some issues, at least in my game, and other people have said they'd have the same issues where the lot has like a sea level glitch, so it's like the lot gets taken over with water, and no matter where I put it, it has kind of a weird issue like that, so I ended up just choosing to rebuild the lot on a fresh plot of land. Of course, the actual building here is in my cleaned, empty Veronaville, so it's not in the actual played Veronaville, which helps it be a safer lot to download, because this lot will be for download, and I'll have the link down below. But we're doing a little landscaping here and stuff. I had a really hard time actually with this house. I knew what I wanted, but I had a hard time with the size of the house, because it's actually a really big house with a lot of just a lot of space, and it was really hard to fill it all up, or maybe not so much hard to fill it up, hard to not fill it up, because I was worried about running into lag and stuff. I definitely have been having off and on issues with pink flashing in my game, and I was trying to make this lot as lightweight as possible, and also for others who are playing, of course, too. But originally I'm thinking about, because this is going to go directly into my game, but so I tried not to fill it to the brim like I would want to with another house that was maybe smaller, because I tend to like a more filled in style of house, I guess, and I had to kind of accept some open space in this build. So, but I ended up liking how it turned out, and I think, you know, it's also a matter of this house is with the Summerdreams, I kind of think about how they are partiers. Also, before I get into that, sort of my inspiration and theme for the house, I want to mention right now this part where I'm working around the tree. You can see it looks a little weird underneath the tree. There is a little square of pool underneath this, and the reason that's there is because of my one of my mods that makes the pond water very shiny and realistic looking, and I know a lot of other folks have a similar, it's a pretty popular mod, so that is there if you happen to have that mod. If you don't, you're welcome to delete it. I did the best I could to camouflage it, is kind of what I was doing there. But anyway, with regards to the Summerdream family, the inspiration was very much based on them being this sort of very mischievous sort of family of fairies. In my game, I have them actually as fairies using some mods. Of course, fairies aren't really available in The Sims itself, without Sims 2 itself, without mods. There's some in Sims 3. Yeah, I kind of think of them as a very lively and theatrical party household. So that was very much the goal of this house, was to make a place that was good to have parties, and having plenty of things for Sims to do and plenty of space. And that was where it kind of ties into trying not to fill the house up too much with stuff for the performance as well, because once you get lots of Sims on the lot, you run into some lag, and I've had recently in some videos issues with lag around having lots of Sims on a lot, and the pink flashing starting and everything. So I just kind of did what I could to prevent that, or make that a little bit of a better situation, and it was a good excuse to leave a little bit of space in some areas. And I did ultimately like how things turned out anyway, even though I was very frustrated. I had a hard time figuring out what I wanted. And that's one thing I could note in this recording, that we're seeing the majority of the decorating is, I already did it actually, but I did sort of a first draft of what I wanted the decorating to be. And then I cleared it all out, and I recorded myself doing it again, which sounds kind of kooky, but I have a hard time with the speed build videos, because when I'm actually decorating, there's just so much of me like trying something and then putting it away and then trying a different one and trying a different color and back and forth, and it gets very frustrating to watch back as well as edit because I try to cut a lot of it. And so I tried a little bit of a different method of just sort of drafting what I want and then going ahead and redoing it for the camera, if you will. So if there's times where it looks like I'm just somehow managing to slap things down and it's exactly where it should be and all of that, that's probably why. I also sometimes, even if I did mess around with recolors and stuff, I sometimes cut it out because if it doesn't end up resulting in something that stays, I don't really include it because it just seems like silly, wasted time and kind of is boring. So for the most part, and usually when I go back over, like I'm doing in the video where I'm going back over what I know I've already kind of drafted out, I do make changes on the fly and in the moment where I kind of decide, no, actually I liked it better like this or that or whatever. So there is still some actual creative choices being made, even though I'm technically just following a draft that I already decided on before. So, or a layout that I already decided on before, I guess. But yeah, so this back area I really like. It's sort of I see it as a stage. I think that's what it's supposed to be. And so that's really what I tried to dress it up as. And mainly this sort of shot is just me testing out the lighting. I think one of the most important things in doing any sort of builds, if you're doing them yourself or you're trying to fix up pre-made houses and things like that, is paying attention to the lighting. And especially the nighttime lighting outside the house really makes a huge difference inside and outside. That's something that I really obsess over in my builds a lot. And I of course have a lot of lighting mods and things that sort of makes me a little bit more comfortable with playing with lighting. I don't know, sometimes I'm not so sure when it comes to how the lighting I set up in my modded game translates to a true vanilla game. And that's something I want to mention also, is this build is 100% Maxis. I chose not to use any custom content. At first, when I was originally starting to do this build, I did use some custom plants and things, but I decided that I really didn't want to have to deal with it at all. I just would like to have a true, nice, clean Maxis lot. And doing the best with what I can with just Maxis object is also just like a really fun challenge and kind of proves what this game has to offer without any mods or anything like that, because it still is a really, really nice game without it. But yeah, we're getting to kind of a little party zone. This is the real main party zone, is this backyard here. And I did end up fooling around a little bit with some lighting. I am a sucker for these stupid horizontal neon lights. I can't help it. I like them a lot, so I use them a lot. But yeah, I think it ended up, I just really wanted a cool cast of colorful light and sort of just an interesting effect. I felt like it fit very well for this household, and I feel like a lot of the choices I made for this household was either something sort of colorful and kooky looking, or sort of organic looking, you know, sort of natural looking, or something that was kind of either of those things plus being sort of old-fashioned-y looking. I don't really know the proper terminology, but you know, I mean, this is a Shakespearean themed Shakespearean themed family, and the whole town is, so I think that was also very much that sort of, I guess, sort of an elegant, antique looking style is used a lot. I also really like, I did do some play testing on this lot as well to make sure certain things work well and everything, and I really like that that spring pool, that hot spring, I think is really what it's supposed to be from the Bon Voyage. It's like a natural hot tub. I thought that worked really well. I don't know if Sims can woohoo in that. I think they might be able to. I'm not sure. But another favorite part of this build is this stage with the all of the the musical stuff. Of course, in my Veronaville Let's Play, if anybody has seen that, which I'm sure most of the people watching this probably have, I had a karaoke machine out back for a very long time. The entire time that we were playing the Summerdream household, I had a karaoke machine. I think it came from one of them wanting to buy one, and I said, sure, why not? And we put it out there, and it was kind of a constant distraction. But I decided to go ahead and sort of make up a more of a complete band. There's a little like a singing microphone, and I think there's a bass and a I think there was like one of those synth machines. So yeah, well, we're almost done with the outside here, and we'll be moving on to the inside. I also chose to keep these sort of interesting, colorful, I think they're technically maple trees, and also these trees from the Bon Voyage. I think they were supposed to be from the Far East. I don't know technically what the trees are, but yeah. So I think they look very kind of mystical and fairy-like, very magical. That's another common theme in this household. It's a really fun house to build just because of how interesting the family themselves are and the theme of them are. You know, I've never really gotten into Veronaville at all until this Let's Play, and I've really enjoyed learning about the families and getting to know them and stuff, and I think the Summerdreams are probably my favorite of all of them. And the icing on the cake, the last little bit of this outdoor, I have these two statues up on the top. Honestly, the roofing just wouldn't fit over that. I think the original pre-made building has some kind of awkward square roofing over those, and it's just like wicked ugly, so I made it just a flat area and put some statues up there, and it worked pretty good. One of my favorite things to do is this ivy. I love putting it anywhere that I can, and it's just... I've used some custom versions before, I think converted from The Sims 3 and stuff, but these are just Maxis Sims 2 Ivy, and they work just fine. So I use them all the time. Okay, we've transitioned to the inside here. Yeah, again, I kind of have tried to continue the same sort of very Veronaville classical old-fashioned look, and put a lot of more natural twist on it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now you'll see for a second there that card table went pink. While I was building this, I was fighting with the pink flashing. I had to restart my game quite a few times while recording. I did run a few things that I think maybe fixed it, because after a bit it stopped. But you might notice throughout this build that some random objects go pink, or one of the main things that was happening was thumbnails in my catalog would be pink, like the little icon that was generated. So yeah, I don't really know what the deal was, but I did run a couple of different things that seemed to calm it down a little bit. And when I did my playtest in my test hood, I had moved in a random family and just let them run wild on like 3 speed for like an hour, and I never got any pink flashing or anything. So, and like by an hour I mean like a real life hour. So I don't know, I don't know what the deal was, but it seems to be okay elsewhere. So I don't know if it's just this hood for some reason. So this is the big room that gave me a lot of trouble. At one point I actually had put some more walling in there to try to break it up, but then I decided against it, and I said I wanted it to be like just a big grand room where they gather and eat. And so that's where the idea of having the big table in the center kind of came from. And I just kind of tried to turn it into just a a gathering room, which seems like the kind of, just the right kind of energy for the Summerdream family. They're very into gathering and being all together and everything. So, you know, I can't wait to get back to playing them. I hope that we're able to have some more parties that gather the Caps and the Monties. That was very fun. And our last time playing them, we tried to have a feud ending party, and it didn't really turn out as well as we hoped. So we have to keep trying a little bit more. I think that's really the Summerdream's their sort of place in the Veronaville is trying to mediate between the Caps and the Monties. Also, one thing I wanted to note, the carpeting that I was putting underneath the table, and you can see it in the archways and stuff, and at the entrance of one side of the house, is the reason I put that down. At first I didn't really like the carpet pattern, although it grew on me after a while, but the reason I chose to put it down was because it was a carpet from the original house, like in the original pre-made house that you like, vanilla pre-made. This room is entirely, I believe almost entirely, that particular carpet. So that's why I decided to put it in there as sort of an homage to the original pre-made house. Also, these masks, they have a ton of these masks in The Sims 2, and I never really used them. They also were in The Sims 1 a bit too, I think in the old town. But I ended up putting them in there because they seemed very theatrical, and that's, you know, of course, very in line with this family and this town overall. This kitchen was another one that was very big and open, and it was like, I have this need to fill all the space with something, and I just couldn't, so I had to accept that there was a bit of it that I was going to have to leave open. But I think ultimately, like I said, it's going to be better for the Sims to move around if they're having big parties and stuff. So I think in the end it's good that it was so big that I was forced to kind of leave space. Originally, I had a little like breakfast nook in this part of the kitchen, and that's when I didn't have a big table out in the big dining room area. And when I decided to put a table out there, it felt like too much to have another table inside the kitchen, even though it probably would have been okay. And then I remembered that tea seat exists, the little tea table, and it's one of my favorite objects in The Sims 2. I think it's just a great little object, and I love the little animations of it, so it worked perfectly to set it right there, and it seems like a perfect little thing for the Summerdreams to go sit at their traditional little tea table every morning or something, or every evening. I tried to make this upper room. Normally this room, and that was kind of one of the things, was since I had changed the stairway, there's always been 2 stairs outside in the pre-made version of the house, that is. I believe there's always been 2 stairs outside in this sort of theater stage area. And then there were 2 stairs, 1 or 2 sets of stairs inside the house. And that's what I removed. I have just 1 spiral staircase. So there's technically 3 sets of stairs leading up to the upper level, so that should be more than enough for all the Sims to route. But it definitely left a lot of space, and I think that was one of the big things, is after the inner stairs were gone, it was like, wow, what am I going to do with all this area? But it ended up working out okay, and this room also ended up working out really nice, because I think in the original pre-made house, the center rooms were really a waste of space. There wasn't really anything at all going on in them. So I made this like a little study. We have a little painting zone. Yeah, I really like how it turned out. This sort of, we have a couple little hallways that are sort of just in between areas, sort of very mystical, winding little house. I think sometimes when you're inside of it, it's got lots of little rooms and things going on. But and technically, there's only 2 bathrooms in the house. I don't know how that'll feel. It may be necessary to add more in the future, specifically for like my gameplay, because I know in my gameplay we have 2 new Summerdream babies. One's a toddler now, I think, and then one's a baby. Plus we still have Bottom in the house. Puck has moved out, but so I don't know if I'll end up needing to add more bathrooms for my own sake, and if anybody else with this house will have to in their own gameplay. Obviously you're welcome to do whatever you want once it's in your game, so I don't care. As long as you don't try to re-upload it and say it's all your own. But yeah, I really like Bottom's room here, and that's one of the other things also, is I'm not sure how I will change these rooms for my own gameplay. Whenever I do these makeovers of the pre-made houses, I do it with the thought of the household as it begins in the pre-made hood. You know, like the way when you very first start playing, who is in the household and what ages they are and everything is how I do the makeovers for the pre-mades. So like for myself, we're going to be just barely starting round 2 for Veronaville, and there's some progression that's happened, so I'll have to tweak things. You know, I might change Bottom's room since she's a teenager now. Maybe she'll move into this room we're working on right now. This room was Puck's room, or it is being designed as Puck's room in this, you know, speed build, of course. But for myself, Puck has moved out of my Summerdream household. He just finished college, so this may become Bottom's room, and we might change things. And I always like to leave room in the kids' rooms and any of the you know, parents' rooms and stuff for random like skill objects. Sometimes that's the best place to put little study objects for the kids and stuff, whether they're into piano or guitar or whatever. I think in Puck's room I end up putting a little violin, because that just seems very Puck to have a little violin. But yeah, so this room wasn't a weird shape, and so it does kind of have a lot of open space, but I think it works for it. So that was a little violin there. But so yeah, I'll be able to put whatever I need to. And of course I had to put down some, I love one of my favorite things in The Sims 2 also for decorating is those little clothing rugs. They're technically a rug, but it looks like kids' clothes that they've thrown all over the place, and it works perfect for the teenagers' rooms. I think it came with the teen stuff pack, if I'm not mistaken anyway. I really fell in love with this rug that I put on the floor of this baby room, which now that I set it up like a baby room because I think it's kind of intended once you start the household that maybe, because what's his name? I know it's Titania and Oberon. Titania and Oberon are getting married at the very beginning during the scripted events of the neighborhood. And I think it's probably implied that their next step is to have a baby. So that's why I chose to fill the room with a baby thing. I don't recall what it has in it in the pre-made. I almost think maybe it's like a study room or something. I don't quite remember. But yeah, so that's there. And in my playthrough, I'm going to have to add another crib, because like I said, we have 2 little ones. I don't know how long till the oldest of the 2 youngest, the oldest of the 2 youngest, how long until they get to move up, and then they'll probably move into Summer's room? Bottom's room. Okay, I'm gonna shut up for now, for a little while. Actually, I lied, I'm not gonna shut up for a while. This room drove me nuts when I was doing the original draft and kind of coming up with how I wanted to decorate it. There was just such an open space that it drove me nuts. And as you can see, I ended up leaving the open space because it just is what it is. And now we have a very nice little tour, some shots of my favorite areas of the house. I really love the back area. I love the hot pink and red carpet and how I matched the little couch to it. We have a nice little wedding picture here. And like I said at the beginning, this house, there'll be a link down in the description for you to be able to download it. I'll post it on my Tumblr, And I also always post it on my my own little blog website, which is sundogsims.com. You can see it on the screen here at the little end screen. We've got all the Tumblrs on there as well. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked it, and I'll see ya in Veronaville.